Hello, friends. How are you? How's things? How's life? How's stuff? I've had a few of you reaching out and checking up on me. I really appreciate that. I'm fine. My house is fine. Um, in case you're like me and you're completely unplugged from national news, my state got hit yesterday with like some ridiculous amount of rain. From what I understand, there was like 4 inches of rain in 90 minutes or something like that, which is a crazy amount of rain. And my hometown and is pretty wrecked right now. I'm fine. One of the nice things about living in the mountains is when it floods like this, it goes away pretty quick. Like it runs downhill. Um, but it's been a weird 24 hours. Yesterday we were supposed to have softball. We started to have softball at Fairmont State University, which is one of the places that got impacted the most was that area. And we were there when the rain started, and the games got called, and we had to drive home. And that area of town is probably one of the lowest points between two valleys, and it floods very quickly. And yesterday it was bad. It was really bad. Even driving home was sketchy. And it had only been raining for like 20 minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and it was pretty sketchy getting home. An apartment building collapsed right there by the school. Cars destroyed. The whole town is kind of a wreck right now in the low-lying areas. I'm not in a low-lying area per se. My particular lot kind of is, but this area is like an old, probably floodplain, like a very old floodplain. The river's moved that way probably a quarter mile or something like that. So we're not really in the river's floodplain here. But it was sketch. It was very sketch. I had a little bit of water come in the driveway or come in the garage door because I have a yard drain. Like I said, my lot kind of sits below this neighbor and this neighbor. And they put a yard drain at the corner of my driveway when I moved, like a couple years after I moved in, because that would always flood. There would always be a pond there when it would rain, and I asked the developers, like, what is this? So they put a yard drain in there, and when I got home, the yard drain was clogged, and so a lake started to form in my driveway, and in a matter of like a half an hour, that lake had gotten up to the garage door. Like it was within inches of coming in. It was coming in because it was pouring out of the retaining wall that runs along my driveway. So some water got in the corner, but nothing was hurt. We came down and got all the wood and stuff up off the floor, so nothing can get hurt. And I went out in my flip-flops and my swim shorts, and I waded through the lake, and I unclogged the drain as best I could, and till it started to actually, I couldn't find it. Years ago, I put large stones there to kind of filter out stuff so it doesn't clog as easily, and I clean it out about once a year. Well, I hadn't done it yet this year, like an idiot, and because it hadn't been an issue, right? It's not an issue. I'm not gonna clean it out. So I'm like in a foot of water digging, trying to find this yard grate. Couldn't find it. I finally found it. Got it cleaned out. Discovered that when the neighbor's house, she had some foundation work done this last year. When they had the machinery going through there, a whole bunch of dirt had gotten pushed on top of that drain, and so like half the drain was completely covered. So I was able to get the driveway unclogged before water really made it into the house. Like it was close, but the worst part is it's not the end of it. I think we have rain on the forecast for the next 3 days, and the ground is already completely. I mean, it's a nightmare. Honestly, it's a mess. The whole town's a mess. Lots of businesses got wrecked, cars, houses. I mean, just tons. I haven't heard a whole lot about personal injury yet, but there are tons of people without power last night. There are tons of people that lost their homes, apartments and stuff. So it's been a weird time, but I'm fine. My kids are fine. They had to drive farther than me, but once they got south of my town, Fairmont, they said it was okay. So they got home safely to their mom's house, and everybody's safe. My parents were without power all night. Their power came back on this morning. Yeah, I appreciate people asking. I know it's a time where it seems like there's a lot of tragedy happening right now in the world, and Um, I appreciate, I appreciate the sentiment of knowing that there's people out there looking out for me. I really appreciate that. Uh, yeah. Okay. I haven't seen it like this in a long time. Where I live, I've talked often about how there's not really any natural disasters here. There's not economic disasters here because we're already in an economic disaster. Um, but flooding has happened multiple times in my life. Back in 1985, I was 6 years old. There was a flood that killed hundreds of people. There's books written about it and all that stuff. And I remember that. I remember where I was yesterday, where the apartment building that I showed you collapsed. That same area when I was a kid was completely underwater, like up over the road. I mean, feet above the road. There were houses there. They eventually tore out completely, and that parking lot was there. That parking lot has filled up multiple times because it's kind of like a depression. I remember 85. I remember there was a huge storm that came through like back in probably 2007 or something like that, 8. That was pretty bad. And then a few times when I was a kid, I just remember there being some floodwaters near my uncle's house because his house is in the floodplain. It's like inches above the floodplain, and many times his basement got filled with water, and we would have to go help clean it out. I don't know if that's true this time. I don't think that river really got impacted by this yet. But again, we've got like 3 more days of rain to go, and some of them they're predicting to be pretty large, like multiple inches of rain, which would just wreck us again. So appreciate everybody reaching out. I don't have any charities or whatever I don't know if anybody's running anything to kind of help support victims here, but there are definitely a lot of people that need support. So if I find some, I will put them in the description or I will pin them in the top comment. If you know of any, or if you've seen any posted anywhere, please post those, and I'll approve those messages because people could use the assistance. Okay. Thank you again for reaching out. Thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for watching the video. Please like it. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And stay safe. And tell your loved ones that you love them, because it's nothing's guaranteed. See you again tomorrow. Today's 1,000 plus little things happy, successful people do differently. We are learning 20 things to stop doing to others. Number 2, stop complaining. Instead, use your time and energy to do something about it. Yeah. Complaining is like, I don't know, it's a pity. Like, my parents used to call it a pity party, and I hated it when I was a kid, but I get it now. But, yeah.